my big thing is about Lamar Jackson is if you ignore the rushing, if you ignore the gravity that he has, and we've all done that. Like, you think Kirk Cousins is elite, so you like squeeze the data down to like the very like subset of data where he's the best quarterback in the NFL, or you think that Kirk Cousins sucks and you do the exact same thing, or you think that Lamar, in the case here, you think Lamar Jackson sucks. So you do an analysis that ignores his rushing, which I'm sorry, but like that is his rushing is game changing, right? And so, in my opinion, like you look at, for example, our friend Sam Schwartzstein asked, he's like, does this with other Greg Roman quarterbacks? Colin Kaepernick, more than half of his rushing yards, even in his like explosive 2012 year, were on scrambles. Tyrod Taylor, 75% of his rushing yards under Greg Roman, that they were on scrambles. And you can find this on PFF.com with an elite subscription. Lamar Jackson in his 2019 record-breaking season for a rusher in the NFL, 38% of his rushing yards were on scrambles, meaning 62% of his production in the run game was design stuff. Like, you cannot evaluate Lamar Jackson as a quarterback. And look, I'm the first one to say he's got warts as a thrower, but you can't evaluate him without evaluating the Ravens running game. And I mean the entire running game. And if you do that, it becomes like even the last 2 years. So take out his 2019 season. The Ravens, and I'm just gonna use this to prove the point. Even with the Tyler Huntley games, even with the RG3 games, all that kind of stuff, the Ravens are 10th in EPA per play in the regular season last 2 years.
So that was the data point that I had pulled up. And I think it's obnoxious to exclude how well Lamar Jackson's offense has done, given the fact, Eric, that he is the offense, whether they are throwing or running the football with Lamar or without Lamar, he is the offense. And let me list for you the teams that have a better EPA per play than the Lamar Jackson-led Baltimore Ravens. The Kansas City Chiefs, who, by the way, are way ahead of everybody else. The Green Bay Packers, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Tampa Bay Bucks, the New Orleans Saints. That's it. End of list. Yeah. It's 5 teams. Now,
and that's our EPA model. Like Ben Baldwin's in the regular season, 2019 through 2021. So that doesn't include his rookie year, which, again, all these things are unfair to Lamar. But like they're third, and
we could take out his rookie year. I mean, that's only going to help. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like, my big thing is, and this is where I get huffy and puffy about this stuff, is bet against Lamar then. Because that motherfucker covers the spread, right? Like, the dude is like 55% against the spread in his career, 54%, I think, maybe. And the Raven, like, look, the sharp money is on the Ravens over. I mean, we talked to, I think it was Rob Zola even said, I don't want to give away his bets, but like he gave it away. I think he talked about it on Circles Off. Like, he's on the Ravens over. I know, some of that has to do with Cleveland, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, last year, that team missed both tackles. That team had all their running backs out. Wide receiver position was a joke. The defense struggled. And
defensive backs were decimated.
Yeah, and they were still 8-3 when he started his last game. Like, and so I look at this thing and I think, again, and I'm not like, look, I'm not saying quarterback wins are a quarterback stat. I'm more of the belief that like every stat is useful. And when you look at EPA per play, when you look at, win, like Lamar wins games, right? And there's an aspect of, being able to control the clock. There's an aspect, and it's different. This is not Nick Chubb running the ball, however good he is. This is not Derrick Henry running the ball. We know from statistics, and we know that quarterback runs are different because of depth of first contact, because of like expected points added. We also know that scrambles are extremely valuable. And with the perfectly covered play stuff, we know that if you can avoid an incompletion and scramble for yardage when the play is perfectly covered, you add a ton of value. And then add on top of that, Lamar Jackson is literally the best player in the NFL at both of those things. So, for the folks that want to hate on Lamar, that's fine. And look, I don't think he's a great passer. I think he's an okay passer. And it's kind of, but he's been consistent. His completion percentage has been 64.4, 64.4, 64.3, I think the last 3 years. Like, he's a good enough passer. This isn't like Cam Newton, like 57% or something like that. This is a guy that can complete passes, and then the run kills you. Now, the questions about whether to extend him and all that kind of stuff, I get that. And like whether you want to, the Ravens are turning every stone, but this is a situation where I think if you do sloppy analysis, you are going to come to the wrong conclusion about Lamar Jackson.